Hello, everybody. It's Lisa Greenfield with Truth in Hand, and I'm back with my favorite tag team partner.
Hey Lisa, hi everyone. It's Mike, your Astro Daddy here, and Lisa, I am thrilled to come back. It's been a month since we didn't record the Leo full moon, so I am thrilled that we're going to talk about the Aquarius new moon solar eclipse commencing on the 17th of February.
Oh, it heads up a real parade. We've got one of the most active lunar cycles, that starts with this eclipse. Well, we're feeling it. We're feeling it even now. It's like when something's this big, you can feel the prep, you can feel the groundswell. And, the 17th through, the next few days into this lunar cycle are just packed with opportunity and change, which of course brings up a lot of big emotions for people because our unconscious bias is towards the status quo.
Right.
And so when there isn't, that guarantee of if I do this, then I get that, it can bring up a lot of nervous energy. So do be aware of your mental state, your anxiety level, and what your coping skills are so that you can take care of yourself, take pauses, settle into this and trust you can do this. It's one bite at a time. That's how you eat the elephant, just one bite at a time. Doesn't matter how big the shifts are. All you have to do is take that bite and chew, right?
You know, it's so true because new moons and full moons are when we feel the most energy
Yeah.
from the cosmos. So you're absolutely true what you just said. And what the good news is, there's some other aspects that are becoming along with this new moon. Uh, a square with Uranus, for example,
Mhm.
Venus conjuncting the North Node in Pisces, and then we also have, which is the blessing of this whole new moon, is the Mercury trine a retrograde Jupiter of Pisces. Mercury's in Pisces right now, and it's trining Jupiter, who is in Cancer. Two water signs, Lisa.
Ah, and if I can thumbnail as best I can what that all says to me, because there's just so much in that.
Yeah.
We want to keep this bite-sized for you guys because there's enough to chew on these days. But this lunar cycle in a compact size, what I would say is Pluto cohabits with this solar eclipse in Aquarius. It's not conjunct, they're a distance apart, but at the same time, it's, Pluto is that revolution evolution. And with the eclipse in Aquarius, which is the power to the people, so it's like Aquarius is the sign that governs the individuals in their collective small and large groups, right? And it's that water bearer that has both the emotions, but the ability, remember, emotions like water take on the shape of the container. So it really talks about that, blend between your mind and your emotions. How do we carry these big emotions as this revolution evolution unfolds? And then we've also got, because we've got a Mercury retrograde this lunar cycle, we're going to touch on a couple of these high points. We have a Mars square, which is our actions, which need a hard right or a hard left. It really is that Jupiter trining a retrograde Jupiter in Cancer is bringing up the old wounds, and then that Venus conjunct the North Node is really giving us an opportunity to, in that past, what are your desires? Not what is the story. We got to let go of stories. What is your desire today that would help balance the scales? That's basically the kiss of, on the wound. What would help you heal that so that you are no longer stuck in the pain of the old story? And so you can responsibly act on it in a new way where you're the adult in the room, not the wounds of childhood, right? Yeah. And that is, in a nutshell, what I see that is so rich and so available with the aspects that we have. Yeah.
Hey, Lisa,
What?
what about the Saturn Neptune conjunction on the 20th of this month? That has to be the headline news of of our discussion today because Lisa, it's happening at the 0 degree mark in Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. 0 degrees, of course, is the first, beginning of the zodiac. So this is a world event. They say it hasn't happened in over 6,500 years.
I know somebody tracked it back to 4,000 something BC. So it is, and that the promise, the unlimited potential in that zero Aries takes what I just nutshelled for you and says, you are the author of your own story. Okay, you get to tell it. Should we touch on the cards right
Oh
now?
yeah,
Get
you
them?
got to. They're so good.
Oh my gosh, because we were just when we did the cards before we shared this with you, it's like, are you kidding? So mind, we've got the three of wands. Now, wands is the spirit. So for mind, it's that inspired place where you can see how far you've come. I always imagine this to be like you're standing at the dock, you're waiting for your ship to come in. It's made it all the way across this big journey, across oceans. You can see it. It's in the harbor. It just hasn't reached the dock yet.
Right.
Okay. So it's like, but it's coming in. It's safely there in the
Yeah.
harbor.
Yeah.
And so threes are always about that you have an inspired way of talking to yourself, of retelling those stories. And then it gets even better because in the body, the Three of Swords, which is that place where we've got a Mercury retrograde this cycle that isn't Mercury in Pisces, which can be the sad story. And this is one where your pain needs a witness so you can transform it, so you can let it go, so you can integrate it. And two threes together is a choice. If you've got your zero Aries point, you really are, over the next 6 months, this eclipse cycle, you're deciding whether you are on the expanding track of love and horizontal shared power, or whether you're on the vertical power over and the wins and loses. In this with Three of Swords, it can be the win and lose. And it's just like it's that contracting spiral. So these two threes together say it's your choice. And there is no right or wrong way, but be deliberate in your choice. For some of you, you may be here to play out that contraction, but just remember you're choosing that. Okay. And then emotionally, we've got the Nine of Pentacles. What I absolutely freaking love about this is nine is physical mastery and it's in the emotion, okay, in place. So what does that say? That it's like our emotions, which are shaped by our mind, which have an inspired new story to tell, can now land it in our body in a way that we master our past. It is no longer in command of us. We are in command of everything that happened and can tell a better story. Because one of the other meanings for the Three of Swords is a breakup. So it's like you can literally break up with suffering. Now, there may be pain, but you don't have to suffer over it. Suffering comes with the story we tell. But remember, we don't have to tell that story anymore.
Mm.
And when you get those three things, what's the follow-up? What's spirit? What's the next step? The star
Bing, bing,
card.
bing, 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 bing.
Hello. You get to choose to be on the path to make your dreams and wishes come true.
Right.
And that's what I love about the star. This is not a stroke of luck, which you have other places where that stroke of luck can drop good fortune in your lap. This one says, you've earned this. These are the results and the rewards. Resorts are results and rewards together. But you get to harvest that because you've done the work. So it's like, and it doesn't matter what the difficulties are, stars shine at night. So it doesn't matter how dark the world may be, you're still going to be the bright light that you are. I mean, you can't get much better than that.
Mm.
It's like, hello, again, the message of this eclipse. So
Yeah.
lunar cycle.
Yeah.
So where do we go from this big eclipse? Or is there anything more that you want to say about that before we roll
You know
into
what?
what?
If I can just have a few notes on the eclipse, Elise, it's
Mhm,
an
mhm.
annular eclipse, which means it's not a total eclipse of the sun. So, because the moon is farther away from Earth, it's going to be smaller. So, you're going to see a ring of fire, and you'll only be able to see this if you're in Antarctica. The southern hemisphere will be able to see this eclipse. So, you got to just trust us, ladies and gentlemen. And also, Lisa, it's happening at the 28.49 degree of Aquarius. So as we approach the final degrees of any sign, it becomes much more intense. It becomes, in this case, very futuristic, very Aquarian in its qualities and its traits. It's going to express that in its most 110%, put it that way. So
Fullest growth.
it's
Hmm.
going to feel very, very powerful and empowering, I think, as you spelled out with the cards.
Well, and what's interesting about that is that 2849, I believe, is the Saturn decan. We won't go into all the geeking out we
That's
can
true.
do, but
Yeah.
it links it back into that Saturn Neptune in Aries
Right.
zero, meetup. So it's like once again, it's like, ooh, this is the full expression of you as the integrated adult that you are,
Yeah.
liberated. So, what we've got with that, Uranus is the liberator. So, it's like Uranus turns the light off, and then eclipses turn the light off and turn the light back on. Uranus is when the lights go back on, you can't ever unsee what you see.
That's right.
So, it's the liberator,
Yeah.
and with Saturn, Neptune in Aries, you're liberated from the illusions leading to disappointment. Things are what they are. That doesn't mean the dream isn't possible. It means that if you want the dream, you got to start with where you're at,
Hmm.
right? So, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Whew.
I
It's
love that.
pretty, it's
I'm
pretty
excited.
powerful.
I'm really excited for this. It's going to be really exciting how it unfolds, right?
Me
So,
too. Hmm.
find out where your Aquarius is in your natal chart, ladies and gentlemen. That's where the energy is going to show up for you. So you need to get your natal chart done and you need to become very intimate with it because your natal chart is the depiction of how you vibrate.
Yeah.
And once you know that, you'll know where what Lisa and I are talking about and where all the action is going to take place in what house.
Right, which of course influences, like it's in my 10th house, so it's my work, so it's like, okay, for each one of you, it's going to have a specific room in your home, I'm metaphorically speaking, but there's going to be, it's like, oh, it's all in the kitchen for me, kind of thing. So it's like, woohoo,
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
cooking in the kitchen where my work is concerned.
Yeah, there it
So
is.
yeah, yeah. So find that out. Yes, definitely.
So, and you know what? We're getting into Pisces season. The sun pops into Pisces on the 18th of this month. So we were talking about the emotion of all
Mhm.
this. It makes so much sense because right after the new moon, we go right into Pisces season, and we start to feel a bit more into what the new moon revealed for us.
It's an interesting progression because we've got air and fire because Saturn and Neptune are in Aries already, a little preview. And then we've got the Aquarius solar eclipse, which the ring of fire. We've got fire and air, which can be a little bit explosive. And then the sun rolls into Pisces, which is like, ooh, now we have to learn how to harness the steam,
Right,
of fire and water,
right.
but in order to do that, we have a little assist because of what happens on the 20th.
That's big. The
Mhm.
the the conjunction between Saturn and Neptune is going to be, I've always saw them as opposites, right? Saturn is about the structure and the container, and yet Neptune is about diffuse and fog and the imagination. So having them commingle on the same degree on the 20th is really going to be fascinating how it is revealed.
One of my colleagues' favorite, I don't know if he came up with this or he simply restated it in his own impeccable style, but Rick Levine, basically said that it used to think that Saturn were the reality of a situation and Neptune was the illusion.
Right,
And now we've come far enough to understand that Saturn is what we believe are the limits of reality, whereas Neptune says, but those are just what you believe, and belief
right,
can change.
right.
So you can go beyond the limits of what you thought were possible.
Yeah,
So it's like that's the invitation for you to play with. It's like
yeah,
where have you been, like, here's a throwback, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. Argue for your limitations, and sure enough, they're yours.
yeah,
So
right.
it's like if you don't know that you're limited, what will you accomplish if you
Wow.
just take it a bite at a time?
Oh, I like
What do
that.
you feel?
Yeah.
How do you act on it? And how does it, how does that draw out the biggest possible shiny expression of you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And because it's a new moon, right? This is the time we initiate stuff. We
Yeah.
change, our behavior. We try a new diet. We go on an exercise. We stop worrying about things, right? We kick off stuff. And what's great about this is a solar eclipse, Lisa. Solars are we look forward. These are things. Lunars are looking back, but a solar eclipse is allow us to look forward to. And in this case, we're going to have the eclipse in August, the Aquarian full moon eclipse in 6 months from now. So this is a time for us to plant seeds.
Yes, it really, and by the way, this is like the closing chapter on something that began in January of 2020. And it's that expansion cycle of love and horizontal, or the contraction cycle of fear, and power over.
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, this is really, this is it. This is the last window. It's like you're on that path after this. And we get a little help from that thanks to, you want to roll into a little Mercury retrograde here?
Well, so you call it help, eh? I call it a little gremlin in the works. We have a Mercury retrograde on top of everything else, Lisa.
Mhm.
Mercury retrograde is going to happen on the 11th of February, began at shadow. And
Mhm.
it was at 8 degrees. It's going to go all the way to 22 degrees on the 26th of February before it starts retrograding back into Pisces. All this is happening in Pisces, and it's going to retrograde all the way back to 8 degrees on, what did we say, on the
March
March
20th.
20th, March 20th. And then it's going to go direct on March 20th, and it's going to go all the way back to 22 degrees on April 9th. So between now and April 9th, we're going to be looking and revisiting and going back and
Mhm.
reviewing and again, find out where Pisces is in your chart, and that's where a lot of the activity, what you're going to go back and revisit those subject matters.
Yeah. And this is literally physically, this is breaking up with the old story of victim, persecutor, rescuer, because there's no win in that. You're going to occupy one of those seats. You may start out as the good guy rescuing somebody else, only to later be seen as the persecutor, because it's like they were on their own path. They didn't ask for help. You stepped in, you know. So it's like there's just no winning on that triangle. So it's like that Mercury all in Pisces says, you let go of that story. That's the power over vertical dynamic, and there is nothing but contraction ultimately in it. So how do you step out of that story? And there's always that choice. The two threes together say you choose. Are you going to move into that horizontal power with? What do you want to do about it now? Right. So that Mercury retrograde is very, very key to helping you review not just the past, but what you're doing with the past now. And that's your
Review,
power.
review, revisit, redesign, re-examine, retro, the RE.
Mhm.
That's what you do when we're in a retrograde. We go back, we
Yeah.
review, we revisit, we redesign, we re-examine, we
Retell the
retell. That's
story.
perfect. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
So
from there, we move into one of my favorites.
yeah, yeah. We have the stack up in Pisces,
Hmm.
and there we have the Sun conjuncts in Pisces, the North Node in Pisces, so fate and destiny. Mars in Aquarius squares Uranus in Taurus, so we have a little bit of tension. And then finally, we have the Venus in Pisces conjunct a retrograde Mercury in Pisces. So on that happens on the 27th of this month, February. And this is going to be a very interesting day, wouldn't you say?
This is, can I just tell you, for me, I'm excited, don't get me wrong, about the Neptune, Aries, Saturn zero reset. But I'm even equally, if not just a titch more excited about this on the 27th, and I'll tell you why.
Do tell.
Because the work that we do that starts with this eclipse can really emotionally land back to that nine of Pentacles, master it in your body. You've got a little bit of a preview, between the 17th and the 27th to anchor in your body that to hurt another with this Mercury retrograde, their behavior may not be a match for you, but they are not necessarily evil people. We need to be very careful. I believe there's about an incredibly small percentage of people that are truly evil. There are people who are acting out and their behavior is brutal. Okay. But it's one of these where you can step into a more compassionate view, Mercury and Pisces retrograde, trining that Jupiter in Cancer, that it's like, it is, I forget who said you need to see things as either an act of love or a cry for love. Okay. And it's like, there's a lot of behavior these days that is a cry for love. That does not mean to dismiss it, spiritually bypass it, not interested at all in doing that. Interested in seeing that these are not bad people. They're behaving in ways that are destructive. Saying no to the behavior, yes to the person. That Mars, Uranus, which is a hard right or a hard left. You don't need to invade their country in order to get them to behave better. That's back on that power dynamic. It's really exploring and seeing the options where sometimes it's passive resistance. Your no just becomes a wall that they can't go beyond. And in other cases, it's an active conversation that says, your behavior is counterproductive for me. If you want to go forward, and that's an if. If you want to go forward with this behavior, we're on separate paths.
Let them. Let them.
Yeah. It's like, do not decide that you need to manage what they're doing. There's way too much of that power over going on in excess these days. Simply state clearly that it's like actions have consequences. They do. So if you choose to keep acting in this way, the consequences are we're on separating paths. That may or may not be a consequence you're okay with, but I am. And it's like, that's the sweet spot. That it doesn't have to be war. It doesn't have to be invading somebody else's territory to tell them what they need to do differently. It's simply staying true to what works for you and what doesn't, and finding your home there with other people that may think very differently, but are committed to that same freedom, Aquarius, and Saturn in Aries possibility. It's like, we can build a structure that allows for both individual, actions that fit the collective, it's management, impulse management. It's mastery rather than just because you want to or because it was done to you in the past or whatever. This is the evolution seed. So that's what's so potent. That's why I just love it. I could go on for days, but we'll stop there. Mm-hmm.
Well, that was pretty good. I can't wait for that. That's almost at the end of the month, and that brings us to the full moon, the Virgo full moon on the 3rd of March. So we won't talk about that, but it's quite an impactful week. It is going to be such an impactful week. I mean, the next 2 weeks.
It really is, and small choices matter. So slow down. One of the shadow sides of Saturn in Aries is a rashness, a recklessness. And guess what? That Mercury square Uranus also has that reckless courage rather than a quiet, centered courage. Okay. It's defiance for the sake of defiance, or like the 0 point of Aries, it's the 2-year-old that thinks they can do it themselves, even if they're in danger. So it's like, speed is not your friend. Okay. You can't plant a seed, dig a hole, put it in, bury it, go out the next day and dig it up again to see if it's grown any. This is a place to start practicing patience and investment. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Wow, that was pretty good.
I know. So important. So important and so rich. Not without effort. But then very few things that are truly satisfying come with no effort.
have to agree.
Right. So it's like, so now it's about with that Venus in there that conjunct the North Node, let those individual desires mature in you. The difference between an impulse and a desire is something that can build and mature that will overcome obstacles and get creative. It's
Mm,
that place where it becomes the inspiration for you to do something more than what you realized you could because you want that desire, but not recklessly, not running roughshod over somebody else, not justifying wounding others because you were offended in the past in this way. It's
mm.
like, no, no, you cannot win that way, not on the horizontal. To damage one aspect damages the whole human chain. So, and this is not a place where the person with the most power at the end wins, because it's like, no, this is the place where we really recognize that when one loses, we all lose something.
Humanity.
Yeah,
And that's what
yeah,
Aquarius is. Aquarius rules
exactly.
humanity. So power to the people, Lisa.
Yep. And us as individuals, unique individuals within that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's the individual, the quirky freak flag
The
flying
eccentric.
you.
Let your
Yeah.
freak flag fly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like find a way to honor that part of you
Yeah.
and contribute it in a way that respects other people.
Right.
Respect does not mean obey.
Right.
Respect does not mean diminish. It means respect how what you're offering can be best received, even if it's a little disruptive.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd be remiss, Lisa, if I didn't recording this on Valentine's Day. I wanted to wish you a happy Valentine's Day. You're my Valentine. I want you to know that.
Thank you.
3,000 miles away from you, but
Oh,
um, love is in the air, Lisa.
yes, and love is afoot. That's
It,
another
it
story.
really
Yes.
is.
Yes, and thank you. You are always my Valentine too, my treasured friend. So love you, love to everybody, and thank you very much. Until next time, right?
Until next time, everybody, get your natal chart done. Lisa and I can help you with that, but you need to get your natal chart done to know what we're talking about here and where
Yes,
the energies are going to show up for you. So, with that, Lisa, I can't wait to talk about the Virgo full moon coming up in 2 weeks. And until then, it was great. I'm loving that we're back together.
I do too. Always, always enjoy this with you. We love geeking out together. So the prep is as much fun, if not more than no offense, than the taping. So all right, everybody, have a very happy reset, restart, seed planting explosion of you. Okay. And we'll see you next time.
Bye,
Thanks.
everybody.